and welcome to an episode of The Good Enough Human with a bit of a difference. This was originally recorded for Circulate Radio, Chester's online community radio station. Because of that, we've got a very slightly different edit for the podcast, as for copyright reasons we can't include the songs. So we've kept in our links to some of our favourite songs in this special edition, along with lots of handy information about things to look forward to, good stuff to look forward to see and do in Chester as lockdown eases, as we come out of it and as we're able to do more and more. We will be compiling a Spotify playlist with the songs that we've talked about and sharing a link with that. So if you do want to listen to the songs again, then by all means do that. And thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoy the podcast. Thanks to my co-host Paul Crofts for doing a sterling job of presenting this with me. And thanks also to Dr. Stephen Kenyon Owen for the ACE music, which brings the podcast to life. For more information on The Good Enough Human, look at the We Are Chester social media channels or head to the Good Enough Human podcast on Podbean or the likes of Spotify and iTunes. Thanks for listening. Hi, how are you? Thank you for listening to this special edition of the Good Enough Human show on Circulate Radio, produced in association with We Are Chester. Your co-hosts for this week are me, Angela Ferguson, and Paul Crofts. And in a change from our usual interviews with a range of guests, this week we're returning to our old Flipside radio show format with a range of tunes that mean something to those of us on the Good Enough Human team, along with some chat from me and Paul while we celebrate all things Chester.
It's been a really tough year, and first and foremost, we'd like to say that our thoughts are with all those who have lost loved ones or fought or are fighting COVID-19. We'd also like to thank all those who have bravely worked on the front line to look after those with COVID and to do things like ensure we've all still been able to buy our weekly loaf of bread and pint of milk. They are all our heroes.
So, as we move out of lockdown on the roadmap to some sort of normality, we want to look ahead and share with you some of the good stuff to look forward to, with our array of indie businesses and local theatres on our doorsteps. We can now go out to exercise and to meet up with more friends outdoors, of course, including in our gardens. But we do, be mindful of this, still need to socially distance and to minimise our travel. And non-essential shops reopen as of the 12th of April, and pubs and restaurants will be able to serve food and drink outdoors at that time. And then on the 17th of May, we should be able to return to sitting indoors to enjoy a meal or a drink with friends or family in a pub or restaurant. And also performances and large events can resume, which is brilliant news, but with obvious limits on capacity to ensure social distancing and safety. Finally, we are working towards a roadmap to, on the 21st of June, have all legal limits removed and nightclubs even reopening. So that's the public information bit. And we'll also be sharing songs tonight that mean a great deal to us on the Good Enough Human team, whether they be uplifting or moving. Music, it's fair to say, can be incredibly powerful and hugely therapeutic. It lifts you up or offers you a warm, comforting embrace. It can make such a difference, drawing out those emotions that we sometimes keep bottled up. So, over to Paul to introduce our first song choice.
Well, it's time for our first uplifting song. And this one is very much a team favourite. It is the anthemic Mr. Blue Sky. Our co-host Sarah Dine says, "When I don't want to get out of bed and face the world, I play Mr. Blue Sky by ELO. It always gets me going." It's also a firm favourite of Angela and Antonia and her son. What a tune to get us started. You're listening to the Good Enough Human show on Circulate Radio.
Now, this week has seen celebrations to mark Cheshire Day, where people across the county have been encouraged to celebrate what they love about Cheshire and to also share good news, such as businesses reopening after having been forced to close for months on end. Now, the date of Cheshire Day is the 30th of March, and this is apparently because it was on that particular date back in 1300 when the oldest surviving full text of the Cheshire Magna Carta was issued.
We are so proud to live and work in Chester. We've so much to be grateful for here. From our beautiful parks and gardens to our picture postcard river and a vast array of quirky historic buildings, including our ancient and unique rows. It's been so good to see signs of life returning to the city after some of the eerily quiet times we've seen on social media images, taken while we've all been doing our bit to stay at home, stay safe, apart from making essential journeys. We're also excited to be seeing our local theatres and theatre groups making plans for offline rather than online performances.
Story House in Chester will be returning to Grosvenor Park with a great lineup this summer, including playwright Glyn Maxwell's adaptation of the classic children's story The Jungle Book, alongside Shakespeare's comedy The Merry Wives of Windsor and Jane Austen's romantic classic Pride and Prejudice. Now, Pride and Prejudice has been adapted by playwright and former Corrie star Deborah McAndrew, who may be familiar to you as she also wrote the 2018 adaptation of the famous Chester mystery plays. So it'll be great to see her returning to live theatre in the city.
Grosvenor Park Open Air Theatre is running from the 29th of May to the 30th of August. To book, head over to the grosvenorpark.co.uk website or call 01244 409 113. My song choice for this Circulate special is the wonderful Bring Me Sunshine by none other than iconic comedy duo Morecambe and Wise. It's such a feel-good song, and I can't help but smile really when I hear this. It always makes me laugh. And Bring Me Sunshine through the years, never bring me any tears. It's just a wonderful sort of legendary comic song, and I think whenever you hear it, it always brings a smile to your face, and that's what we need in these uncertain times at the moment. So here's Morecambe and Wise and Bring Me Sunshine.
You're listening to the Good Enough Human Show special on Circulate Radio.
Now, one of the things we've been really pleased to see happening during the lockdown, and one of the things we're really looking forward to doing when restrictions start to ease, is to be able to go out to eat in a restaurant again, rather than having to order in at home, which is great, but there's nothing quite like going out to eat with friends or family in a proper restaurant. And it's been great during the lockdown to see so many new businesses opening up in Chester city centre. Have you had any particular favourites you want to try, Angela?
Well, I've been very excited to think about the idea of being able to eat out again. Cannot wait. And I'm going to be spoilt for choice because there are a few places on my wish list. There is a brand new venue in Chester Market called Garoma, and it offers traditional Bangladeshi street food. And judging by their social media accounts and their Instagram accounts and the enticing videos and photos, the food looks absolutely divine. And apparently it's halal, there's vegetarian, there's vegan food available. It looks lush. And also on my wish list is a trip to a fab new Japanese restaurant, which produces the most divine looking super fresh fish and sushi called Hamayu. And I hope I pronounced that right. That's on Watergate Street. So those two, Garoma and Hamayu, are definitely top of my wish list for when we can eat out again and dine out with friends and family and loved ones. Cannot wait. What about you, Paul?
One of the places I'm really looking forward to going to. It looks as if it's going to be fantastic. There's been a lot of photographs on their Instagram account in this last week. Is a new Italian restaurant called Carbonara at 49. It's been run by Sam and his business partner Flavio, and they're setting up in what was the Mad Hatter's tea rooms on Bridge Street Row. Sam is quite a well-known face from hospitality in Chester for a number of years, having worked in quite a well-known Italian restaurant prior to lockdown. So really looking forward to that one opening in a few weeks, and it looks like it's going to be a fantastic addition to the Italian dining scene in Chester.
It does indeed. We really are spoiled for choice, aren't we? And it's so wonderful to see new businesses opening up, even in these tremendously challenging times. It's really heartening to see that the food business is certainly thriving in Chester by the looks of it. So, and it's great for us to support them and enjoy some great food at the same time. Now, let's return to our song choices. And coming up next, we hand over the mic to our co host Antonia Marola Jones to share her favourite song and the reasons why she has chosen it.
So music's a major part of my life, and when Angela asked me what my all-time favourite upbeat song was, the one that makes me feel really uplifted, it's so hard for me to do that. And I think when anyone asks me that question about what's your favourite song of all time, I just there's just so many, it's really hard to choose. I really struggle to narrow it down, but I think the songs that really evoke that emotion of feeling upbeat and that I can just take on the world would have to be a couple from Fleetwood Mac, Little Lies and Go Your Own Way. Those songs, I could be anywhere, in a pub, in work, and they'll just make me just stand up and dance. I know it sounds crazy, but they just evoke something within me that just makes me just want to dance, and they make me feel really good. So when I'm feeling low or a bit down, whack those tunes on and just makes me feel really, really empowered and happy. Another one that makes me feel that I can take on the world is Wilson Phillips' Hold On. That's another one that I can just whack on and just do a power walk or just feel really, really good.
You're listening to the Good Enough Human Show on Circle 8 Radio. We are your co-hosts Angela Ferguson and Paul Crofts. Now, we've been looking at some of the good stuff to see and do in and around Chester that we can look forward to in the very near future. And one of the things we've been looking at is theatre news. Now, I have to mention, because I have to declare an interest here, I'm part of Cestrian Players Theatre Group in Chester, but I'll get in big trouble if I don't give them a quick mention to say that they are planning a return to the stage. I think the Garrett Theatre in Storyhouse later, possibly in the summer or later in the year, with a vaudeville-style variety show. And as is usual with the quirky Cestrian Players, expect fun and laughter as well as some poignant moments. So watch this space for more information about that on the Storyhouse website and the Cestrian Players social media channels on Facebook and Twitter.
Now, during lockdown, it's been wonderful to see our local theatre companies thinking outside the box and bringing some wonderful online events into our living rooms, including our good friends at Tip Top Productions, who've hosted a range of online events, including dance workshops, quizzes, and ever popular new writing showcases. The next one of these very, very popular new writing events takes place on 13th of April, which is a Tuesday, from 7 p.m. Now, if you or someone you know is a budding writer and wants to get involved or simply wants to listen in on the fantastic new writing which is brought to the screen by Tip Top, you need to email your interest to lockdown@tiptopproductions.co.uk to register for their upcoming Zoom session, which takes place on the 13th of April. Now, Angela mentioned the Cestrian Players, and I must also register an interest in another local theatre company, Against the Grain. Against the Grain was formed a couple of years ago with our debut production taking place at Storyhouse in Chester. And we are once again looking to bring a brand new production to the stage in Chester later on this year, which is a play called Mr. Dumpling, which has been written by my good friend and co-founder of Against the Grain, Mark Newman. Mark describes this as a twisted comedy, and basically it takes place as a middle-aged man called Graham moves back in with his parents after splitting up with his partner, only to find his parents constantly arguing, with his mother now running a telephone sex line for elderly gentlemen callers, one of whom is the mysterious Mr. Dumpling. 3 weeks later, Graham finds himself being interviewed by the police in connection with their disappearance. Now that sounds like a really, really interesting play, and I must admit I've not seen the script yet, but I know it's going to be an absolutely hilarious night out at the theatre, and boy, do we need one of those right now.
Okay, so now it's my turn to choose a song for this special Circulate radio show. I've chosen an absolute classic, which it would be one of my Desert Island discs, it's fair to say. She is an absolute legend, and she is just ridiculously talented. None other than Kate Bush, one of my idols. And as a child growing up, I remember watching the video to this particular song, Wuthering Heights, and seeing, I think there might have been a few different versions, Kate Bush sort of dancing around a forest in a sort of leotard or something like that. And I just thought, it's one of those moments that you never forget. And the song is just fantastic. And I've got to say, it takes me back also to a brief stint when I did some horse riding lessons a good few years ago back in Chester, and I used to listen to it a lot en route to lessons, and the song kind of used to go around my head, as crazy as it sounds, while I was cantering on the horses. So I'll always associate it with the complete and utter escapism of desperately trying not to fall off whilst cantering on the back of a beautiful horse, with in my head, I was in a romantic novel, galloping cross country, like something out of Pride and Prejudice. So there you go. Love this song. Hope you enjoy it too. Wuthering Heights by Kate Bush.
And now it's time for Sarah's choice of a song that means so much to her, Crow by Bear's Den, a powerful song about grief, which is hugely poignant in a year when we have lost so many. Sarah says there is a small but beautiful book called Grief is a Thing with Feathers, written by Max Porter. I think it's one of the most brilliant books I've ever read about grief, and it inspired the most amazing song called Crow by Bear's Den, which is one of my most favourite songs. It is beautiful, really, really beautiful. Wasn't that a beautiful piece of music as we almost come to the end of our show? If you're looking for more ideas about good stuff to do and see in and around Chester, keep an eye on our We Are Chester social media channels on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's also our website, wearechester.co.uk, and of course, our fortnightly radio show here on Circulate Radio, and our podcast, The Good Enough Human, available on the likes of Spotify, iTunes and Podbean.
So, as our Good Enough Human special draws to an end, we have a few more songs to share with you before we go. There's an uplifting montage that we put together of a number of songs, including the ethereal and inspirational Light by Michael Kiwanuka, along with another beautiful anthem, Sunshine on Leaf by the fantastic Proclaimers, who never fail to uplift us. It's a gorgeous and emotional listen. Then finally, our last songs for tonight are two pieces that are close to our hearts. They come from the City of Chester Male Voice Choir, whose chair, John Walsh, we interviewed on the show a few weeks back. We have a beautiful piece called the Seal Lullaby, followed by the classic World in Union. Both songs were released as part of Chester Male Voice Choir's celebration album in 2016. We hope you enjoy them. Thanks so much for listening. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.